10 random magic cards rated. Day number 145, apparently. That's what my notebook says. I hope I'm right. What's the first card of the day here? It's Enforcer Griffin from War of the Spark. 5 mana, 4 and a white for a 3/4 Griffin with flying. That's the whole card. Let's really hope that it gets better from here. Let's really do, man. A 5 mana, 3/4 flying is like a 2. Let's throw a 2 at it and move on. Let's not look it directly in the eye, okay? Fauna Shaman. Ooh, Fauna Shaman up next from Magic 2011. This is 1 and a green for a 2/2 Elf Shaman. You can pay a green and tap it to discard a creature card and search your library for a creature card. Reveal it, put it in your hand, shuffle up. So discard a creature to tutor for a creature at a pretty low cost. And yeah, this is in standard right this second, which I think is really cool because Elves is... I hesitate to call it a real deck, but it's got a lot of really good pieces right now. Like, I'm sure there's some configuration of Elves that could work. So, you know, maybe like a 1 of Fauna Shaman or something like that. Go get your Lathril or whatever Anthem effect you need at the moment. I could see it, but no, in Casual Commander, Fauna Shaman's a fantastic card. Really is. Sets up reanimation and other like weird graveyard tricks and stuff. But even if you're not doing that with it, it just like turns your mana dork on turn 7 draw into the best guy in your deck. So a Craterhoof Behemoth. So you'll want this. You typically want like tutors and stuff in Commander, and Fauna Shaman's a very good one for a pretty good price across all versions, you know. Usually about like $2 or so to pick up. That's pretty good. So I'm gonna give Fauna Shaman a 7.7. Again, we're mostly ranking for Casual Commander here. And I think Fauna Shaman is that good. really tutor on a stick every turn. Let's kind of go. We got Agatha's Soul Cauldron is like a thing we can do now. We can do that in standard. Huh. Yeah. So anyway, 7.7 for Fauna Shaman. I think it deserves it. Next is Elspeth, Knight-Errant. This is originally from Shards of Alara. This is 4 mana, 2 and 2 white for a 4 loyalty planeswalker. +1 her to put up 1/1 white soldier creature token into play. If you +1 her again, you can target creature gets +3/+3 and gains flying till end of turn. And if you -8 Elspeth for the rest of the game, artifacts, creatures, enchantments, and lands you control are indestructible, although not planeswalkers. So, and nowadays it says you get an emblem that says that. And so this is still like $7. There's a secret layer drop that is $4. It's because it's this one, which looks pretty good. You know, I'm got no problems with that one, but still. Yeah, a lot of these are at least like $7 to pick up right now. Ooh, this one from Dual Decks looks really cool. I like that. Good job. Igor Kiriluk. Nailed that last name, I'm sure. But anyway, yeah, Elspeth, this is one of the better versions of Elspeth that's ever been printed. This is kind of the one they've been chasing for a while. There's another Elspeth that's like 6 mana. You can plus her to put like 3 tokens into play. That's the one that I like the most, but this one's obviously quite good. If you have, you know, an effect that doubles the number of loyalty counters she gets when she comes out, there's a couple of those now in Magic, then you can ultimate her immediately, and that's a pretty ridiculous emblem, but this, both the pluses on this are playable. It's a decent rate for what you're actually paying for is a decent rate. And then, the +3/+3 in flying at a plus is something that you often see at a minus over the last like 10 years or so. So this second plus here is actually kind of dangerous, but still overall a pretty good planeswalker. I'll give Elspeth Knight-Errant a 6.7. I think she deserves. Maybe slightly less, but I like this Elspeth. I'm going to give her a break. Next is Fuego Devastador. This is from Conflux. It's actually called Banefire. This is X and a red for a sorcery that deals X damage to a creature or a player. If X is 5 or more, Banefire can't be countered by spells or abilities, and the damage cannot be prevented. This actually saw play in Standard way back in the day, sometimes as a 4 of. Believe it or not. It turns out that fireball effects are just kind of good sometimes, especially clean fireball effects that do more than just fireball. And this does that. You know, you can hit a player, you can hit a creature, all that's good, but not being able to be countered is actually kind of ridiculous. And pushes control decks out of the format and stuff because you just ramp into Banefire. Double Banefire. Do I win? You know, yes, sure. So Banefire really does have a place in Magic history. It was an important card for a good long while there. One of the better fireballs ever printed in some ways. You know, what's the worst thing that can happen to your fireball? It gets countered. Well, Banefire. You know, strictly upgraded Blaze is a pretty good Magic card. So, got a pretty good run here of cards. I'll go with a 6.1 for Banefire. You know, you're not going to play it in Commander too often or anything, but it's still, I like my Fireball effects. I like my X spells. And this is kind of one of the better ones, period. Seriously. Gempalm Incinerator from Legions is up next. One of the grouping of, you know, creatures from this set that you discard and they do a thing. This is 3 mana, 2 and a red for a 2/1 goblin with cycling, 1 and a red. When you cycle Gempalm Incinerator, you may have it deal X damage to target creature, X being the number of goblins in play. Pretty good. This did see some play, and now I have proof. It's in World Championship decks for 2003, back when they made those. And it's still, you know, well, I guess you can get it for pretty cheap. I guess you can. It's a 10-cent version of it. Ooh, 10-cent version of it with a retro frame, or you can just buy one with an old frame, not a retro frame, an actual, honest-to-God old frame. This is a pretty important card in, like, Commander Goblins and stuff, and it is one of the better Gempalms. The black one is really good, too. But this, ooh, God, tough. I'm grading it in the context of goblins, I think. So I'm going to give the card a 5.7. I think it's somewhere in there. It may actually be higher than that. Incinerator's good. It is just a good card. But next, ooh, it's Riftwing Cloudskate, man. I think we've done this card before, which is sad because I really do like Cloudskate an awful lot. It's basically 2 mana for a 2/2 flyer that casts, you know, a bounce spell, a boomerang when it comes into play. Straight up boomerang, too. You can bounce a land with it. That's fun. So, yeah, I like Cloudskate. I can't remember what we gave it, but I feel like it was reasonably high. Because it deserves it. Serpent Generator. This is a card I really like. It's from Legends. It's not good anymore, but I've put this card in decks. 6 mana for a 4 for an artifact that you can pay 4 and tap it to put a 1/1 colorless snake artifact creature token into play, and it has whenever this creature deals damage to a player, that player gets a poison counter. That's right. Way back in Legends, ladies and gentlemen, Legends had poison in it. I believe Legends may have also had a Marsh Viper, I think, and that gives poison. So it's not like, you know, poison's a new thing or anything like that. We've been doing it for a very long time. This is a cool card, man. It still is. It costs too much to get in play, and it costs 10 total mana for your first 1/1 poison guy. So I don't think you're playing it anymore. I really don't. But I used to have some fun with Serpent Generator, and I'm going to give it the honorary 5. I feel like I haven't passed out an actual honorary 5 in a good long time. So I owe a card one, and I think there could be no better candidate this video than Serpent Generator. But watch what we see what we get next. You know, but yeah, I really want to say more about this card because it's one that I've got a lot of personal history with, you know, but this is kind of firmly confined to the kitchen table in 1996. And I don't know how much it can really do now, but you know, maybe Commander, but I don't think so. I don't think so. We'll move on to Wyll's Reversal. This is originally from Commander Legends Battle for Baldur's Gate. This is 3 mana, 2 and a red for an instant. Choose target spell or ability with 1 or more targets, and then roll a d20 and add the greatest power among creatures you control. Okay, so on a 1 through 14, you may choose new targets for the spell or ability, which is what you would want this to do. But on a 15 plus, you get something better. You may choose new targets for that spell or ability and then copy the spell or ability. Choose new targets for the copy. So this is always, no matter what, if I'm reading it right, 3 mana to misdirect. No matter what. And then if you get really lucky or you have a bunch of dudes in play, then you get to copy the thing you're misdirecting, which is really not bad. I don't like rolling dice, but when the card is just kind of good, even if you didn't have to roll a die, then like I'd still be fine. I kind of like cards like that sometimes. So I'll give Wyll's Reversal a gonna sound wild here, guys. Maybe I'm just being really generous. It's Thanksgiving, you know, I'm a happy guy. It's after Thanksgiving, you know what I'm saying. It's the most wonderful time of the year. So you know, maybe I am thankful. But I'm gonna give this a 5.2. Because I tend to kind of like misdirect effects, and you really can only afford to play 1 or 0 of them in your deck, Commander, some of the time, but they can be really effective if you time them correctly. And this one is reasonably cheap to cast, and it seems to basically always hit. You know, like you always get the effect you want for 3 mana, and then sometimes you get double the effect you want. So, seemed okay to me, you know. We'll move on to, ooh, it's Unnatural Growth. Ooh, is a hitter. There's a hitter right here, baby. This is only $3 right now to pick up from Innistrad Midnight Hunt, but, you know, some are like $5, like the, God, the Secret Lair drop with Groot. That's fun. Magic sure is fun. The Wildsville Drain Enchanting Tales one, that's like $274, and it looks pretty good. That looks all right. But yeah, anyway, this is a good Magic card. This is 5 mana, 1 and 4 green. That's so much for an enchantment. At the beginning of each combat, double the power and toughness of each creature you control until end of turn. That is each and every combat. Your opponent's combats, your combats, whatever. Your dudes get super swole, and they have to deal with that. So this is already a perennial commander card. That's seen playing a ton of green decks and stuff. It's holding some price. I'm surprised it's not slightly more expensive than this, but still $3. People wanted, man. You can see why. This is more than Timmy Bait. This is one of those cards that looks like Timmy Bait, and then it turns out it's actually busted. It's actually very, very good. So I'm gonna give Unnatural. Man, it's been a good day today, hasn't it? Jeez. I'm gonna give Unnatural Growth. Ooh, first thing I'm gonna do is ask the audience. What do you give Growth? I always feel like I'm going to rate the card higher than you're going to rate it. And that's one of the reasons I ask the audience when I do, right? So that means prime yourself, because I'm probably going to give this card a pretty inflated score, to be honest. I just think this is a pretty disgusting like effect for big green decks. So I'm going to give the card a 6.8. I want to go higher. I really do, man. I want to go higher than that, but it's obviously like very, very green and nothing else. And it's only for like one real deck, you know, just big green guys. But that's a fun deck, you know. So I think it's an important piece in Commander, and I'll stick with a 6.8 on it. Like I said, I want to go higher. This is a pretty nice card, you know what I mean? So I kind of feel bad I didn't go higher, but I think I will get comments where people are like, you know, 5.6 or something like that. We'll see. We'll see. I'm interested in what you guys have to say about Growth. But moving on here to Carrion Rats from Torment. This is a single black mana for a 2/1 rat. Whenever Carrion Rats attacks or blocks, any player may exile a card from their graveyard. If a player does, Carrion Rats assigns no combat damage this turn. So if they have cards in their yard, they can pretty easily make this deal no damage. But what if they want the card in their yard? Or what if it's early in the game because it's only 1 mana? This ain't but 1 mana. You know what I'm saying? So it's early enough in the game. This is just Savannah Lions for a couple of turns, you know. And that's not bad for your Rats deck. You know, rats aren't usually big, but apparently when they eat dead stuff, they get stronger. I'm not really sure what the what the flavor is on this, but this was only ever like really printed in an English version, at least in Torment, and then all these other versions they don't even have prices for, which is kind of wild. But you can get a white bordered one that's in English. The UK version. It's kind of neat. But yeah, there's more and more reasons these days to play rat decks than ever. So if you're looking for good like 1-drop rats, then I guess maybe this could find a spot. I don't know, could be. But I'm gonna give this a one more thing. Actually, it says any player can remove a card in his or her graveyard. So that means that you can remove cards in your yard from the game, and then you get like Insidious Roots, boosts, and stuff. Like anything that cares about a card leaving your graveyard, you get a triggered effect from that. So maybe that works. I don't know. You gotta look at all the things you can do with a card. This, however, is like a 3.4. This is a no. This is a 3.57. This is a 3.57 right here. You know, it's a Savannah Lions. Come on. Next is Hatchery Sliver, the last card of the day here. This is 2 mana, 1 and a green for a 2/2 Sliver with Replicate, 1 and a green. When you cast a spell, copy it for each time you pay the Replicate cost. Each Sliver spell you cast has Replicate, the Replicate cost being equal to of that creature's mana cost. So that's gross. It's pretty good in Slivers, I think. You know, sweet mana sink in the late game too, because you can make a couple of copies of it, and now all your Slivers have double Replicate. Does it even work? That doesn't work. I don't think that works. But, I guess if this one dies, you'll still have the other one that you like offspringed into play, kind of. So that's neat. But yeah, giving all your other slivers replicate is kind of disgusting because a lot of them do have effects that you want to double up on. So yeah, it seems all right. This is originally from Commander Masters. I can't remember having seen it before. I haven't played against slivers in a long time. Even in the limited Commander that I have played, I've never played against like Sliver Commander. It hasn't happened yet. I played against slivers on the kitchen table a long time ago, and I took a deck called that I called Sliver Pickles to a Pro Tour qualifier at the Gaming Pit in Atlanta in like 2007. It was like a Brian Elemental Vesuvian Doppelganger thing that also had a slivers base with like Hivestone, which makes all your dudes slivers, and then you use the slivers to tap down their guys, and they never get another turn again. Because you have the opposition sliver. I think it's called telekinetic sliver. So you tap down all their guys with your slivers, and they just don't get a turn because Brian Elemental taps. You see, you'll know what I mean if you know what any of these cards are. It was the dumbest deck I ever played, and if I hadn't have made a boneheaded mistake in sequencing and missed a Vesuvian Doppelganger trigger and not been able to go back on it, I would have gone like 4-1 that day. But instead, I had lost 2, so I dropped. But anyway, it was. Anytime I think about slivers, I have to think about that horrible moment and that stupid deck that was actually kind of really good and fun. But either way, Hatchery Sliver, I have to rate this card eventually. It's pretty good in slivers. I'm rating it in context of slivers here. So I will give this a 6. Straight up 6. I think that today may have been one of the highest like average power level for a cards that we've ever seen. So that's pretty good, man. Let's hope tomorrow is just as good, guys. I'll see you tomorrow morning. Bye.